Hi Aries, welcome to your October 2026 tarot reading with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. Check them out for all three so that you know which part of you I resonate with most as a reader. With that said, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So I'm going to pop these to the side. These will be for later and these will be for, let's pop them there, and this will be for the bulk of your read. So if you would like to book your personal tarot reading with me or astrology reading, numerology reading, you can do so on the link in the description box below. I'm always really weirded out when people like email me and they're like, oh, I'd really like a reading with you. Do you offer this? Because it's like, in order to send me an email, you have to go through my website anyway. So, you know, like, okay. Anyway. With that said, let's get into it. So for your actions and options this month, you have the King of Wands. Now, whether you're a man or a woman is irrelevant. This card literally represents Aries energy. So October, you are probably feeling a lot more like yourself. And I do wonder if that has something to do with the fact that your ruling planet is in its second home this month of Scorpio. So even if you're not a Scorpio or you don't have Scorpio placements, obviously you've got Scorpio somewhere in your chart, but Mars functions much better in the sign of Scorpio than it does in the sign of Libra, which it will be leaving this month. So I wonder if this has got something to do with the fact that you're feeling a lot stronger this month. You're feeling a lot more like yourself. You're probably feeling a lot more in control of your internal and emotional resources as well. Now, when it comes to your actions this month, what you're really sort of looking to do is to create a stir or a ripple of some sort. There's something that you're trying to put out into the world, something that you're trying to share or get some eyes on, something that you're trying to make a lot more visible. Well, you could absolutely do so here because Mars, your planet, is in the magnetic sign of Scorpio, so you have that ability to sort of really lighten and brighten something up. Now, in terms of the options that are available to you, well, the King of Wands as options can represent powerful people. They can also represent like men, in particular men who really in some way, shape or form are bringing opportunities to you. This could also be that you're working with or alongside authorities. So this could be police officers, military personnel. It's also possible that you could be working with sports persons this month as well. So the opportunities that are coming to you are coming from people who have a very Martian or martial kind of energy about them. And what's really attracting them to you is the fact that you kind of are yourself. You're not holding back. You're not presenting any airs and graces. You're just kind of really giving it to people as it is, like you normally are, but you're being received better for it now than usual. And I have a feeling that that's because your ruler is now in a fellow home sign in some regard, right? Now, when it comes to your interesting money and material, your communications and conversations, you have the King of Pentacles, right? So what do we see here? Two kings. Two kings represents minor counsel, whether it's with me or somebody else, I really don't care, but this would be a very good week, a very good month for you to have a reading with somebody, whether this is astrology, tarot, numerology, the I Ching, I don't do that, human design, I don't do that, but do you see what I mean? Like, this is a time for you to seek counsel outside of yourself, especially where it is that you've got bigger or larger goals or plans that you're trying to put out into the world, especially where these revolve around money and finances to do with your project and or your ideas. and your professional sphere. Now, the King of Pentacles in the communications and conversations, the quality of communication that you're getting this month, it really is. It's like you're not getting a lot of information, but what you are getting can be trusted, right? It's good, solid, good quality information. So that's really handy and that's really helpful. When it comes to those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, this month really is about the resources, having the money to study, looking at what it's going to cost you, how you would like to make things happen, maybe how you're going to make ends meet, right? Like, let's say you're deciding that you want to go back to school, or you would like to, do some kind of addition to the studies that you're doing. You're having to look at, where am I going to fund this from? So it's not just the monies for the course, but it's like, where are you going to live? How are you going to get there? There's a lot of other considerations that are coming in around this as well. What I would also say is, for those of you that are studying or have just left studies, those studies really are going to serve you very well, but it really is going to be a matter of patience and persistence with sticking it out. It will be the same thing when it comes to those of you that are employed. The conversations that you have this month will be very telling. Pay attention to those, especially where a boss or a colleague or someone pulls you to the side. It won't be what I would call like a formal chat, but whatever is mentioned at the moment, it leads to money. So you have to pay attention to these things. Like, wherever you are already, like wherever you're employed by somebody else, the steps for your advancement or your financial sort of growth from the work that you're doing is evident, but you will need to pay attention to where it's coming from. Now, for those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, this bodes very well for the money, but it is very much a speculative sort of energy here, because you've got it next to the King of Wands. It's like you're taking a financially calculated risk in terms of your business, whether this is a business loan to expand in some way. Maybe it's some sort of foundation that you want to start, or potentially even a different arm to the business that you already have. There's something here where you're expanding, but in order to do this, it's like you've got to lay more solid or bigger foundations. So it's kind of like they say, like if humans were able to, like if humans were ever going to float on water, if we could ever walk on water, our feet would have to be something ridiculous, like 100 times the size of what they are now, right, in order to carry us. So the message here is, whatever you're trying to do to grow your business, you can absolutely do that, but the challenge that you're going to face is you need a stronger or a bigger base of some sort in order to hold what you're trying to do. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, this is literally getting your money, your finances in order. But while you're doing that, I feel like a lot of you are just enjoying what you have. It's kind of like maybe you're, doing all of the unsexy stuff, like setting your budgets out and all the rest of it. But it's like you're skimming some off the top so that you can actually enjoy, like, we're a little bit more comfortable. We don't have a mortgage anymore. So actually I'm going to take this and buy myself some new golf clubs, or do you know what I mean? Like, there's something here where you're skimming off the top because you're looking at how sort of settled and secure you actually are at this moment in time. For your love and relations, you've got the Five of Swords. So look, I'm going to be really honest with you. There is a potential for arguments, challenges and disputes when it comes to the relationship this month. And I will say, a part of the reason for this is you and your significant other both have something to say. And it's like, like sometimes it's really funny, like you go to say something and the other person tries to say something at the same time and you keep interrupting each other. So you stop and then you interrupt each other again and you keep going. Or like, when you're walking towards somebody and you move one way, but they move with you. And so you end up kind of dancing and then one of you's like, okay, you know what, just go. This could be like that. It could be very humorous if you kind of allow it to be, but it could also be a little bit more intense and a bit more serious. The Five of Swords is a dispute card after all. You have arguments, and my feeling is that both of you have valid points. Maybe a single counselling session, maybe a mediation session of some sort, something like that could be sort of really helpful. I would just say here, if this is the case, you're going to have to just be a little bit more aware. And the reason I say this is, it's not like, this card basically says if you're not willing to compromise, then you're going to have to do battle. And if you're going to have to do battle, the question really becomes like, what are you willing to do in order to win? Because otherwise it just turns into a screaming match, and then you know, nobody wins from that. They really don't. For those of you that are single and looking, you could be talking to someone, you could meet someone, maybe start talking to someone on an app, maybe you go out for coffee with somebody because you're introduced. But it looks like it has a very short shelf life. I think you realize very quickly that you and this person will just not see eye to eye. And so there's a part of you that's kind of like, you know, I don't think you're particularly bothered, if I'm honest. So you've got this 8 of Wands here in the money and materials. I realise I've forgotten to pull your key to the month. So you got the 8 of Wands in the money and materials, right? Just also want to re-mention, if you haven't yet, please don't forget, you can book your personal reading with me. There's a link in the description box below. You can book any of my sessions. So 8 of Wands. When it comes to your money, your finances in particular, this is opportunities to make more money, but it is going to be short and fleeting. So for some of you, I will say, one of the ways that this shows up is maybe someone says to you, look, there's some part-time work going if you want it. I'm going to be really honest with you, it will be just a short-lived cash boost. So my advice would be, don't get locked into this, because it's kind of like, I mean, if you're okay for it to be ad hoc, you know, where you kind of, someone says, look, you can have a couple of hours this week and maybe a couple at the end of the month or whatever. Like, if you're okay for it to be that, then go for it. But if you're expecting something to be solid and stable, it's not going to be that. When it comes to your finances in particular, this month, whatever you're learning or information you're coming by, I think you're going to realize where the problems are arising when it comes to your money and your finances. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, the 8 of Wands is your back, your buttocks, your hips, like that whole sort of axial sort of part of your, well, it's not axial, is it? Because the axial skeleton is the top one, but the bottom axial skeleton, you know, where everything hinges on your spine and your hips and your lumbar region. Watch out for that this week, and I would say be doubly effective with it, because you've got this Empress card here as the key to the month, right? So what I want to say to you is, if you're doing workouts and stuff like that, just make sure you're doing your stretches, make sure you're doing your cool downs. This is not a month for it, because I promise you, you won't get away with it. Be extra careful with the lower back, especially if at the moment you are worried or concerned about finances in any way, shape or form. And the reason I say that is because lower back problems and issues are financial in nature, that's how they show up in the body. Finally, when it comes to your home and environment, you've got the 8 of Wands. Information, confirmation, contracts, inputs that you've been waiting for will find you this week. You've got the Empress this month, so you've got the Empress card here to say things need, like, take things slowly. All right, as much as you are Aries, as much as you want to rush to get it all done and you need it now and like, this is not the time for that, right? Slow and steady is going to win the race this month. Mars is in the sign of Scorpio, right? Whatever else Scorpio is, it's not a fast sign. It doesn't hurry about, you know, it doesn't do any of that stuff. Slow down. You've got all of the time that you need to do everything that you need to do. So your Human Design Oracle deck card for the month, you literally just saw me shuffle them and put them down, right? You got the Gate 52 and Stillness. And the message behind this card is to literally take your time, right? Don't rush it, don't push it, don't force it. Take your time. You have all of the time that you need. The other message about this card is to listen in the stillness of the self. Right, to really pay attention to what the inner senses are trying to tell you at this moment in time. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Look out Mid-month, I've got something coming for you guys that I think you are absolutely going to love. Spaces are limited. You'll be seeing this everywhere anyway, so don't worry about that. But I will say spaces are limited and there will not be a second run, right? So once they are gone, they are gone. And trust me, you're going to want this. If you're ready for 2026, which is a universal 1 year, you're going to want to be a part of this. All right. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic month. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.